some advice, Rockhead. Make sure you get drunk or hit a stick of PCP before you go over there.
Ooh, you saw Alien? Keep shit cool. Everybody.
Yeah. Light your blunts. Get your drinks. Show's about to begin. Welcome to the Goose Show. We got Pomona in the building. Talk about the aliens, the government betrayed you. Talk about the flying saucer seeing from the building. Higher than I'm feeling, they look rather appealing. The Goose Show. They abducting the human race. Aliens appearing and moving in outer space. Ancient text mentions I'm sharing wisdom with all. But humans don't be listening, rather start them a war. Fucking off the planet, pollution causing the damage. I'm chilling in Pomona where homies talking in Spanish. Let the world know about Pomona teaching the mass. Shout out to Kev, Mac, OMAR, Bradley, and my kids. My wife and two, because they know I'm a survivor. 5 shots couldn't take me down cause I'm a rider. Then was on the ventilator, still I had to rise up. Tell me y'all the truth, man, I'm here to remind you. It's only up for me from now to the future. Thanks for your support and I'ma give you what you used to. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding what they demanding. So look out for the aliens, they landing. The Goose Show, we got Pomona in the building.
I'ma hit the lick and do the race. Ballin' like I'm Curry, chucking threes up from the trays, nigga, babe. Low key, I think I'm extra. My girl be saying that I'm crazy, I think I'm special. Twisting on my fingers like a pretzel. These niggas sweeter than the house of Hansel Gretel. Fuck, nigga, you the type of snitch you wanna kick. All we wear is tees, I ain't talking about no lip. You can say the talk, I've been ballin' on a mission. Ice up on the beat, we gon' have a walk chillin'. Is you really from the gang or not? Is you really get a cake or not? You dodge fans, hop gates or not? You rock ice in the stage or not?
She like to shelter shit. If I was in Big Bear and the bear broke in the cabin and fucked her, I wouldn't know whether to jack off or help the bitch. I'm sugar free and free. She said, I'm pregnant, I'm in my last month. She spelled month in me in. I'm sugar free, I'm from the ground, ho. She said, you knew me ever since I was 7. I said, but you all grown up now.
Welcome to the Goob Show. I am Goob. Myself off. I am Goob. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Monique. Waiting for the OMAR to come in. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen him in a while. Got a few UFO videos to shout out and shoot out. And a couple, most of these is in California. Whoever's in California, you know, I don't know if you heard of them. They come on the news or whatnot. But these videos are out of California. I think 3 of them. I think I got 5. But Omar wants to talk about some different shit. So that's what we're going to get on. Whatever he stepped in. What's going on in the news? Trump got found guilty. Statute of limitation didn't get him for the rape. But they didn't even put up a defense. $3 million. Old girl about to get for defaming her name, for saying it didn't happen. Well, by the time he's going to have to be president to get some money back. To get some money back. But if he don't go to jail, damn sure got a chance. Especially if you live out here, AZ or any other Republican state, you know. That nigga still got the votes. Still got the votes. What's going on with my song here? play a little something, man, until Omar step in. Omar got an accident today. Somebody back ended.
Machiavelli, Illuminati, I feel like Pac stuffing all these ducats in mama's sofa, then open shop. Looking for the Jewish stocks, gotta keep the Ruger cock. Devil dancing around all my homies, don't know who to. I can't trust nobody, catch a body, I'm milking nigga easily. Reroute in position with the plug, I'm hosting meet and grease. Killers in my section, twisting fingers like the easy. Big money low, bro, I don't think you see. I gave my life to this shit, need them diamonds and fists of that Hennessy. I say a prayer for my niggas that's falling and kill all my enemies. I need accountants and lawyers, no friends, ain't no friends, it's just gangsters. We from the wickedest parts of LA, ain't no busters or wanksters. All this politicking better talk some money. Hit the ATM, I need like 700. Need to clear my head, so let's go out the country. All these bitches in my phone, I'm trying to fuck something. We ain't trying to cuff nothing, bad bitches with me now. Cross the customs with the pistols, they ain't finding out. TSA ain't never frisk me when I'm flying out. Marcus hit me on the phone, he said it's going down. That's just how it's going down. Fuck with no niggas that came up and switched. Got them VVS diamonds, moonwalked on my wrist. On my lace and my gel and my pants and my kicks. While you loving that broad and she fuck with the click. Don't wanna say but she can't leave. Marriott Hotel, it was past 3. Running goofy bitches pockets like an athlete. Said a Uber canceled out, then call a taxi. Bitch, call a taxi. Gun on my hand. I pray to the Lord, give me strength. They don't know what I did for this clip. Watch your mouth when you talk about the clip. Living like a buster, we been living like some gangsters. Living like a buster, we been living like some gangsters. Yeah. Gotta be cautious who you trusting now. Gotta be cautious who you fuck with now. They set you up and hit you out of town. Cross the tracks, that's out of bounds. And 40 cows, they make the loudest sound. And they know coming up from under crime scene investigations and vacations. At the Lucy's right on Pico with the gangsters. House shoes, fuzzy braids with the braces. Room service, crap tables, that's my fucking demonstration. Top down, PCH, ballin' like a trailblazer. Bullets to his head, I leave him looking like the Hellraiser. I don't trust these bitches, gotta fuck them on the elevator. Can't come to the room, we got the money in the future race. Money out working the plug. I'm from the land where the homies say cut. All of my niggas got this out the mud. No TLC, I was never a scrub. I gave my life to this shit, need them diamonds and fists of that Hennessy. I say a prayer for my niggas that's falling and kill all my enemies. I need accountants and lawyers, no friends, ain't no friends, it's just gangsters. We from the wickedest parts of LA, ain't no busters or wanksters. Yeah.
What's up with you, Omar in the house?
What's going on, brother?
What's good, homie?
How you feeling? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Huh?
I can hear you good.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up.
What's up with you, man?
Hey, man, you know, I done been through the ringer, brother. I was in and out of hospital, and then, you know, I had a little 16-year-old kid. I was stopped at a red light yesterday at around 7:30 p.m., and a little 16-year-old kid was talking on his phone and ran into the back of me. So then I had to run up to the ER and get checked out and, you know, get my meds for my blood disorder. So I'm still a little chunky today, but it's all right. More of me to love. I'm still beautiful.
Good. You're looking good.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
for a big nigga.
Last weekend, a weekend before last, I walked from my, you know, master's degree. Saturday, daughter number 3, Kaya, she getting ready to graduate from ASU, so she'll be an alumni with your daughter. You know what I'm saying? We'll have
shout out to her. Just froze up in motion. G-Man, what's good with you, homie? You at work tonight? Yeah, you froze up, Omar.
Was that on your end or my end with the with it slowing down? That was me?
Yeah, that was you.
Okay.
Yeah, you just had froze up for a second.
Yeah, let me make sure I got my man, it's a beautiful thing. It's something that the matriarch of our family, trying to put into the girls, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that they did what they needed to do, you know, and I'm gonna be proud to be one of those, you know, black men where everybody instantly, all the kids got bachelor's degrees and eventually gonna move up, you know, that's our thing. In black families. But it's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to see it all come to fruition. You know, I can't wait.
That's right.
I'm ecstatic. I got all my grandkids here today because they in for the graduation. You know, I'm a happy camper. You can't bring me down. You know what I'm saying? If I was standing on the ladder.
Right, right. So what else been going on?
Man, I'm waiting on all these notifications to stop popping up on my computer because I started loading it and everything, booting it up at like 7:35. But I wrote all my papers on this computer, so now I got to go back and delete them. I don't need them, you know what I'm saying, and start fresh because in September I'm gonna go ahead and start that program, try to get that PhD. You know,
it's not about who going to jail. It's stopping him from running again. Who is that? G-Man?
Oh, you know, he might be talking about my pops. You know, because that's the situation that my pops is in. A lot of people believe that, you know, if he's speaking about my pops, it is not about sending him to jail. It is about not allowing him to run again because
no, that's I think he's Trump. I think you're talking about Trump.
Oh, if he's talking about Donald
that's what
Trump,
I was talking about him getting.
You know, when my name pops up, Donald
you know,
Trump.
You know, he got caught. That rape case, he got to pay old girl $3 million. You know what I'm saying?
But they should have been on that when he was saying grab them by they crotch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not to put our personal business out there, but we got girls. You know what I'm saying? So if we was to hear that standing next to somebody and they said that around our girls, he wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made it to the White House. He wouldn't have made it back to his house.
See, that's the thing, man. They wanted him in so bad. You know what I'm saying? And the cold thing about it is all the shit that the fool is still going through.
Right.
They still want him in the motherfucking office. They still willing to vote for him over DeSantis.
The thing you gotta, excuse me, guys. The thing you gotta look at for sure. Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill. He wrote the crime bill legislation that put a lot of black men in prison. So making these black women judges and putting them in high position, you know, I think that's his way of apologizing for putting their sons in prison because he done put a lot of black sons and fathers in prison with that crime bill. You know,
right.
And then on the other end of it, from a non-political perspective, you know, you got Donald Trump, who is the definition of uncouth, and says things and gets away with things that people ought not say. You know, he's done some things that people ought not do. But what we are learning is that, or what we already know, and that is on full display, is that the justice system is not the same for black people. You know, you and I was talking about that earlier today with what's the young man from the young man who committed those murders. What's the young man
talking about at the college?
Yeah.
At the college and got pulled over?
Yeah, what is that young man's name? Brian Koberger. So Brian Koberger got pulled over in a routine traffic stop because he pulled past the crosswalk, was in the intersection to make a left turn. The light turned red. He made the left turn. The police officer behind him pulled him over and told him, hey, you just ran the red light. You know, the law is you're supposed to be behind this if you are stuck in the intersection when the light turned red, you still running the red light. So he kind of talked her out of giving him a ticket. Now, this is how they determined it was him. That body cam from that officer, the female officer that stopped him, that body cam got his license plate. Of course, it got the color and the make of the car and all that kind of stuff. So when they saw the video footage of the car going back and forth, they was able to identify the plates and be like, oh, the person driving back and forth is the same person that got pulled over in this traffic stop. Now, here's what's crazy. When he put his dad in the car to drive all the way across the country, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm listening.
When he put his daddy in the car to drive all the way across the country, the report is that the FBI asked the local police to pull him over so that they can get a positive identification. So the local police pulled him over, but it wasn't enough for a positive ID. In other words, the first officer that pulled him over didn't get a good view of the license plate and didn't get a good picture of him.
Hey, so let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Was that car? Did they have that car already at the scene where dude killed him, college? Because one of the girls, one of them that was downstairs that didn't say nothing because it was everybody didn't get killed that was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There were survivors
Correct.
in that motherfucking house, so they didn't hear nothing. I mean, you had to hear something. You was just hoping and playing sleep that he didn't kill your ass as well.
Right.
So now they got old girl finally testifying to say, but what I was asking, because you were saying about the police and having his car, did they have his car at the scene?
No. What happened was months before he killed these people, he got pulled over, right?
Okay.
And the officer who pulled him over for running a red light, she let him go. But in her body cam footage, she got his license plate. You know what I'm saying? She was able to run his driver's license because she took his driver's license. So when they was looking for the murderer, excuse me 1 second. When they was looking for the murderer and they saw the white car going back and forth. Remember they said this white car going back and forth has a person of interest in it, right? So the reason why they were able to say the car going back and forth had the person of interest in it is because they got the body cam footage of the officer who had pulled him over months before he committed the murders. So they already had the license plate and all that kind of stuff. So what they did was when he flew his daddy out there so that he can drive back to his daddy house with him across the country, the FBI told local police, hey, pull him over. We want to verify that it's him. So a local police officer pulled him over, and the FBI didn't feel like they got all the information that they needed. So they let him go. FBI says, pull him over again. So he don't even travel another 2 miles before he gets pulled over again by the police. Once the police pull him over and the officer does the right thing the second time, gets the license plate, gets the driver's license, positive ID on the video cam, lets him go. Now, this is after he's committed these murders. What's mind-boggling to me, but what confirms and should confirm to America that the justice system is different for Black people than it is for everybody else, is you are pulling up on somebody that you believe is a confirmed murderer. You pull him over and you don't shoot him.
Yeah, or have him at gunpoint at least.
People.
Yeah, at least have him at gunpoint.
You know that's the car. You know that's him. You just want a positive ID.
Right. What's up with you,
So-
Slugger? First time in here. Shout out to you, homie. You know what I'm saying?
What's
Fucking
happening?
with you for a minute,
So-
man. Oh, Slugger.
If you know, because the FBI is telling you that we need you to pull up on this person and pull him over, we trying to positive ID him as a murder suspect, so we know a crime has been committed. You ain't pulling your strap.
Right.
You not shooting up the car. You shoot up the car on black folks when they don't use their blinkers making a left turn. You shoot up the car on black folks if they're going 10 miles over the speed limit.
Right.
But now you trying to positive ID somebody that done killed 4 people already. You 99% sure it's him, and you ain't gonna roll up and shoot him.
Right.
The same way you didn't roll up and shoot Dylan Roof after he killed all them black people in the church.
Or dude at the supermarket in Buffalo.
Right. Had the
let
same
him-
energy, right?
You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker had a gun. You had to talk this nigga out of having his gun instead of shooting him first. If it would have been a
Precisely.
brother, you shooting first, asking questions later. For
Don't
them,
forget the brother that fell asleep in the drive-through of I don't know, maybe it was McDonald's or someplace, that he fell asleep in the drive-through because it was like 2-3 in the morning. The police tapping on the window. He don't wake up. He don't respond. So they
Right.
call for backup, tap on the window some more, and by the time he wake up and pop up, all officers that surrounded the car unloaded on him, and he wasn't even a criminal. And all he did was fall asleep in the drive-through after a hard day's work.
hey, look, you know who I want to see about? I want to when they trial is on court TV or whatever. I want to see them brothers that beat that nigga up because he was fucking with dude's girl. You know what I'm saying? Them 5 cops in
Oh yeah, they finally saying that the brother died from blunt force trauma.
Yeah,
He died from blunt force trauma, so he got beat to death.
And it was just and it was so cold is how they were showing the video. That's why they booking the paramedics too, because dude was sitting at the car, man. You could see he was fucked up. You can see his shit was swelling up, the whole thing. The motherfucker that need to really get the time is dude that was taking pictures. They need to find out who, because they saying that he took them pictures and sent them to the girl dude was fucking with.
Right.
His baby mama or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, on some very female shit. Look what you made me do.
Yeah, hey, look.
I done had to go and beat up your boyfriend.
Yeah.
But
and
you
look,
know what? This is
how do you tell your homies? But look, though, how do you tell your homies? Because now your homies is in jail, and the niggas was on the camera talking about, man, did we do a good job? Is that all right with you? And dude was like, yeah, I'm all right. He said, nah. You all right with that? Did we do it right? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Oh, okay. I feel you, Glenn. You was talking about Trump. That's what's up, because Google was talking about that. Here's the problem. We got a generation of punks in the black community that things we wouldn't go for at all are things that people go for now. The same way the police officer jumps on his baby mama new boyfriend, I don't see that as being any different than August Alsina telling the whole world that he had intercourse with Jada Pinkett because his career is getting damaged. Who tells?
Right.
You were supposed to take that to the grave. They had to do a whole Red Table Talk episode. Will Smith had to embarrass himself at the Oscars. And then after all that, you decide to come out as gay, which wasn't hard to figure out because a straight man ain't gonna tell if he got one of the most desirable women in the world and she's already married. He's taking that to the grave. Maybe a couple of homies will find out, and the homies' reply will be, "Nigga, you lying." I mean, that's really what that's really. Yeah, you didn't do that. Tell me something else. But you're not about to tell the whole world, "Hey man, my feelings are hurt." Jada Pinkett, who's all of 5 foot nothing, you 6 feet tall, she took advantage of me. She took advantage of you. So we got a whole generation of punks that have turned the game upside down. I don't need you doing me a favor. If you can take my woman, then she wasn't my woman. You doing me a favor. I'm gonna go ahead and let you take that off the books. You know, real quick. I'm also interested in this Allen, Texas shooter because this Allen, Texas shooter is a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi.
And what was his killing? Because some people may not know.
The dude that went to the mall in Allen, Texas, that shot those people, he is a neo-Nazi, white supremacist. But being a neo-Nazi, white supremacist, the reason why I'm having a problem understanding that is because his name is Mauricio Garcia. Now, last I checked, Garcia is not white.
Right. He might have a white mama. He might have a white mama.
But it still tells us something that we already knew in the hood when you run into some of those other hoods and they racist against black people. You know what I'm saying? Because you got the Nazi lowriders linked up, and you wonder how the Nazis and the lowriders, you know what I mean, how them dudes get linked up. Well, it's simple. The Pope allowed the Nazi officers from World War II to move to South America. And so after World War II, you had a lot of Nazi officers that went to South and Central America, and a lot of them ended up in Mexico. And that's how Mexico became experts in beer, because Mexico didn't have beer until after the Nazis came, after they lost in World War II. The Germans,
you know, we
down
also,
there.
but we also brought Nazis over just because for our NASA.
Yeah, but it was very few, and we made them work. We talking about the Pope said, I need everybody in Latin America to accept these Nazis because they are Catholic, and what they did was for the cause. So you're talking about a mass exodus of people that was accepted versus people who were picked up and brought to the United States where they said, oh, you're going to make this rocket fly. You're going to make this rocket fly, and you're going to be confined to this base until you make this rocket fly. You're talking about two totally different things. And you have to remember that back in the 50s and the 60s, you know, even if you look at your census paper now, or if you fill out a job application now, it will say non-white Latino as an option.
Right.
On the census.
But don't they consider, look, because just like we have black and white over here, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, they have the same thing. They just speak Spanish, but they're considered either white or black. And they,
up until the mid 70s, Latinos could say that they were white on the census. When they filled out the census paperwork, they could say that they were white. And the reason why the United States government allowed them to say that they were white is because they were tracing the heritage back to Spain, and Spain is Europe. And so this is why you see a person like Desi Arnaz being on TV with I Love Lucy and being able to be married to a white woman on the show. But if you pay attention, guess what? There were no black people on I Love Lucy.
You see what G-Man said?
Huh?
You see what G-Man said? Omar, you down in LA. What's going on with the reparations talk?
Oh, I'm in AZ right now because my daughter's getting ready to graduate from ASU on Thursday, and I'm not missing that for the world. But yes, so the reparations talk, they put together a panel of black people.
Are they having it in Compton?
No, the reparations talk is going on in Sacramento at the Capitol.
Oh, for all of California.
For all of California.
Okay.
And what the reparations is about is they're saying, even though California didn't have slaves, we were still, when the people who were no longer slaves were released, freed, and their descendants, when they came to California, based on California not having slavery, they didn't know that they was going to run into some of the laws that were mirroring the Jim Crow laws of the South. Redlining, not being able to live in certain places, still discrimination, still not being able to get a job. So even though California didn't have slavery, they still had all of those other things, segregation in certain cities that they had in the South. So what California is saying is, okay, we may owe you reparations for that because we still treated you bad. So if you live in California and you black, if you can prove that you are the descendant of a slave, then you are eligible for reparations. Now, the reason why they say if you can prove you are a descendant of a slave,
right,
is because they don't want to, they want it to be localized. They do not want it to go to the other African diaspora that is in America. They don't want it to go to black Latinos. You know, they don't want it to go to Africans who came to America later, you know, their own fruition and put down roots here. They want
saying
to be,
anybody that's
descendant, you got to be the descendant of a slave in order to get some money.
A slave that's here in this country.
Yes. So what they're doing is one member of the panel that we'll get to him in a second. One member of the panel said that every black person in California that could prove that they descendants of a slave should get $300,000 a piece.
Right.
So you, your wife, your kids would each get their own $300,000. What the panel settled on was $1.2 million per black person, which for me, I didn't think that was smart. And the reason why I didn't think that was smart is because California's budget is trash right now, and California is in debt. So
how they gonna pay all that out? Because that's
nobody. No assembly members, no senators, and definitely not the governor is going to vote to approve $1.2 million for all black people who are in California that are descendants of slaves.
Yeah, that's
so 300,000 because you and your spouse and then your two oldest kids could have said, hey man, we all gonna take our 300,000 a piece, which turns into 1.2 million for four of you, and we gonna buy franchises and let that money roll. You know what I'm saying? So it's about how you could have been strategic with it. 1.2 million might
But
scare some people off.
You know what's crazy is when you say that, even though California is basically a Republican state, if you want to say that, with a bunch of Democrats in it, but they didn't redlined and did everything they could to make sure that they win, just like in other states. But the other states is the ones that need to be doing it where the real slaves came from. Like my grandfather, who was a slave owner, who married a slave, which is my great grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Cooper. You know what I'm saying? His family, if anybody wants to know, Cooper Road in that motherfucker is a part of coming off that Cooper name.
Okay.
Because my shit is we so big in Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? In Alexandria, Louisiana, different, but he was exiled. My great grandfather was exiled from the rest of the Coopers because he married a slave, which was my great grandmother, which was my grandfather's parents. You know what I'm saying?
So the
that
fear,
state, Louisiana and Texas, Oklahoma, all them motherfucking states that was real big on the slavery thing, they need to be given some reparations.
Well, and see, that's the thing. The fear from the Republican states is that, oh man, thank you, Henny. The fear is that if California approves it, then it creates a precedence to where other states, because now you can have residents of other states go back and sue, and they'll potentially win in court because they could say California gave their residents reparations.
Right.
We've had a precedent, So that's just like if you got a person that
commits the same type of murder of a person that did something else and he got out and you still in, you can use his precedent on your appeal and say, well, shit, I did the same thing he did. How the hell he get out and you still got me stuck?
Precisely, because now you got some legality in the history books that you can go off of. So this is going to be interesting how it's going to be interesting how this plays out.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you.
It's going to be interesting how this plays out. Again, I really thought that 300,000 was a good look, because even if you start getting reparations by state, that doesn't mean that that the federal government can't kick in and do reparations. The same way you saw the states flipping and making marijuana legal, and the feds haven't made marijuana legal yet, but we know it's coming. And of course, you and I never thought in our time that we would see marijuana as legal.
Salute to you, Eyeball.
What's going on, Eyeball?
Appreciate you stopping through.
We know. I mean, have we had a conversation in '96? Somebody walked up on us and said, "Hey, man, in 2023 and 2022, weed is gonna be legal." We would have laughed at them.
Right? Yeah, facts.
You see what I'm saying? But now, weed is legal in these states, and so it's going to happen in the federal system, because the feds eventually are not going to want to spend that money on the manpower, because then the only way you're going to be able to stop somebody is if they carrying weed across state line. And do you really want to put a bunch of officers on the state line and stop every car and look for weed? That's the only way you're going to get a profit or make a profit off of arresting people, is if you stick a bunch of people on every state line and check. Or if somebody's stupid enough to try to put it on a UPS airplane or a FedEx airplane.
You know what the business about to come to in California is them stopping the sale of marijuana. I mean, not marijuana, the sale of menthol cigarettes in California, homie. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be extortion where motherfuckers going to make a lot of money.
And menthols are some of the most dangerous cigarettes you can have. And who are they marketed to? They were marketed to minorities. Same way malt liquor is a totally different liquor, and it got marketed to minorities.
Right.
You know, it was put on us in such a way that they had us believing that malt liquor was actually better than regular beer. You know, it tastes better. Why? I don't know. It's just because Billy D. Williams says so. You know what I'm saying? It works every time. What works every time, Billy D? What you mean? You know what I'm saying? Are you talking about if you take a girl out and get her back to the room and get her some slits or some Coke 45, that's gonna work every time? Come on, Billy D, explain yourself.
Right. So when they cut out menthol in California, they not. I talked to my cousin. They selling some weak ass like Mexican cigarettes or something that's supposed to be menthol, and you know what I'm saying? Because you
Here's
can't
my
get
question.
In
How does that be? I got a question for you, host of the show. How is that going to affect the system of smokes in the prison system when the menthols become a hot commodity because they coming up short?
They're gonna be $1,000 a cigarette. Hey,
oh man!
Just like they gotta pay, you know, just like whoever's in California, if they want some menthol, they gonna have to pay the motherfuckers somebody to ship it to them to get it. Either you gonna quit or you gonna do that. You gonna smoke that fake shit.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, you're in prison. Menthols are no longer legal on the streets. You know they made. You know, and somebody come to you and say, "Hey, you know,
I give you a personal look. I give you a personal experience, right? This is how with me. Before I went in, I used to smoke Newports. That's what I started off smoking cigarettes of Newports, right?
Hard carton, or soft pack.
They were hard cartons back. You know, we talking about 80. We talking about like shit 84. I mean, not 84. About 85, 86. I'll go with 86. I think that's the first time I ever tried a cigarette, right? And I started getting hooked. I started smoking. Then I started going to jail, right? When you got to the pen, they only gave you this white box back then. If you was indigent and you didn't have nothing on your books or nothing like that, they used to give you a box of tobacco with papers and all that. You can roll your own shit, right? And then, like I said, I was smoking Newports. They gave me that box. I started trying them motherfuckers, and I was like, "Oh man, you got some Bugler? Let me roll up a Bugler from you." You know what I'm saying? And from that point on, my first package sent me some Camels. I was no longer fucking with menthol. I started fucking with regular tobacco. So either the people that's fucking with them cigarettes, the menthols, and can't get none, a lot of them gonna move over to fucking with regular cigarettes, or they gonna have to buy their shit out of state to get it sent into them. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, they don't have none.
Let me ask you another question real quick. For you. Regular cigar blunts, Swisher Sweets, or flavored Optimos?
None, because I don't really smoke that much.
Because back in the 90s, people was on them flavored Optimos. I've seen peach Optimo wrappers all over the ground when I was in high school.
But you know what I want to show you? I want to show you this video real quick. I want you to look at this shit. This was in our tree.
Let
me see if I can put this up and you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, at the top of the tree.
I'm gonna play it again. Hold on.
It looks like something's flapping around in there.
Look. Can you see it?
Yeah, the round thing at the top. Yeah.
That's all bees.
Wow.
Hey, look. So I come out in the morning, right? And it's a whole swarm of bees by the tree. Like, damn. I'm looking like, damn, I mean, fuck all these bees come from? So I look in the tree, I say, oh, it's a fucking bees nest in our shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't fuck with them bees. I'll fuck with some wasps. I don't fuck with them honey bees, right? So I get immediately within 5 minutes, I'm going to my computer. I'm looking up how to get rid of a beehive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How much it's gonna cost me to get rid of this motherfucker in my tree? You know what I mean? Because they flying all around. Fuck that. I don't want that shit. I want it out of my tree. So I called a few people. One said 225. Another one said 195 to take it out. I was like, shit. So I called this other place because I was gonna pay it. I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna pay it. We're gonna get this bitch out my tree. I called this one dude. The one dude said, we can do it tomorrow. Just wait a day. Do you see the honeycomb? And I said, I can't see the honeycomb because it's nothing but bees around it. He said, let's just do it tomorrow. They may not be there. I'm like, what does he mean? He said, when did you see it? I said, I don't remember seeing it yesterday, because this was yesterday, but the day before. I don't remember seeing it the day before. I just remember seeing it when I just came out this morning. He said, if you want to set it up, I'll have my guy come out between 1 and 4. This is like at 10 o'clock in the morning, when I seen it.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, damn, nigga, it'll take till 1 to 4 to come get it. I said, how much? He said, it'll be, if it's a bee cove, it'll be $90. If it's a whole nest, to take it away, it'll be $150. I say, well, set it up. That's a better price for me. Set that shit up. I leave, homie. Go to the store. I'm going maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something. I come back. Nigga, the shit is gone. I call dude. I say, hey, man, the thing is gone. He said they rested. He said wherever they were moving from, whatever hive they were at before, they just made a stop point in my tree to rest. The whole motherfucking pack of them. I wish I could have seen them motherfuckers leaving.
Do you know what's wild about that?
And they gone, homie. They gone. There's no honey cove there. It was just a pile. It had to be 1,000 or so of them. They were just in a pile that looked like a honeycomb. They just, I guess when the queen said, hey, it's time to roll, they rolled. Right. He just said, look around your house and make sure they didn't set up shop around your house or nothing like that.
What's crazy about that is, let's not forget, 2012, when everybody was talking about what was going on with the Mayan calendar and all this kind of stuff, and it was really the wrong calendar that they was looking at. Remember, we couldn't find a damn bee. People was talking about where the bees at. They extinct. We couldn't find a bee to save our lives. They was like, we're not gonna be able to pollinate the bees. And then we got word that a scientist took an Africanized bee. This is how they get us. This is how bad racism is.
Right.
A scientist took an Africanized bee to Central America, and somehow the Africanized bee figured out how to get out. And the one Africanized bee made it with a bunch of European bees. The Africanized bee forced itself on all these European bees.
Yeah.
Made more Africanized bees. And then they had the news showing us the migration pattern of these Africanized bees. And they would tell us on the news, hey, the Africanized bee is 25 times more aggressive than the European honeybee.
Yeah.
Now, wait. What do we know about bees? The only bee you can mate with is the queen. So you mean to tell me that there's one Africanized bee that escaped this scientist, which means he broke out of jail. This Africanized
bee. It had
bee,
to be a female, though. It had to be a female.
No, it would have to be a male. And then
Why would it have to be a male?
because
female is the one
why
that
would a
goes-
female Africanized bee go to a hive where there's already a queen? Even if the Africanized bee
okay.
killed the
I see
queen,
you.
those drone bees would not respond
I
to
see
the
what you're saying.
female because they don't know her, right?
Right.
So
right.
this Africanized bee broke out the pen, went to all these beehives with all these drone European honeybees whose job it is to protect the queen. He broke in there because he needed to know what that European bee life was all about. Made it with the queen, became a deadbeat dad, then went to another beehive, made it with that queen, bypassed all of these drones who are supposed to give their life to protect their queen.
Right.
Became a deadbeat dad again.
It kept moving.
And kept it moving.
Yeah. Hey,
And
so that's why.
This
That's
is why I
when
get
I
mad.
seen that. When I seen that bunch of them bees, I was like, "Oh no, we got to get that motherfucker up out of our tree." You know what I'm saying? But
They
they
do
left.
this to us. They do this to us in sports. When you got a bad white boy that can shoot the 3-ball, he's a pure basketball player. He's not about frills. He's not about thrills. He's fundamentally sound. He's a great basketball player. Oh, he could pull the trigger and shoot the 3. But when you're talking about a black athlete in any sport, he's a beast. He's a monster.
Yep.
Look at him go. They dehumanize us. But if you get a white point guard or shooting guard that can stroke that 3-ball, it must be quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
He must have got A's in geometry because he's a pure shooter. He understands the definition of the game of basketball. He's not there for the razzle dazzle. But us, this guy is a pure street baller. He's from the street. He got grit. He won't lose. It's the half man, half monster inside of him that won't make him stop. You know, they demote us to the lower animals. And what makes it worse is that we accept it. So when we're on the subway and we bug out a little bit and somebody takes it upon themselves and they just so happen to be white to choke us for 15 minutes, and we know nobody is surviving the full 15 minutes, so he died a long time ago and the man wouldn't let go. Why would he value my life and not want to choke me if even on he's watching the same TNT, he's watching the same ABC, he's watching the same NBC, he too is hearing we monsters, we beast. Every time Mike Tyson fought, he's an animal.
But see, they need to book old.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they need to book old boy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they're gonna have to get him. They're gonna have to get him, you know, because New York, which is supposed to be ironically the place of entertainment, acting, and music outside of Los Angeles, New York is the place to be for media. Why does it keep happening there? I mean, we can go all the way back to remember the homeless brother that was pushing the shopping cart that the police got and they beat him. And then they took the broomstick and they raped him with the broomstick. He's pushing a cart. And that's been 20 years ago now. Maybe 25, 26 years ago now. What they did to that brother. And they just thought nobody would care because he was homeless.
Yeah. And that's what dude expected. He was gonna get more popularity because he did what others wasn't gonna do on that train or whatever.
He
You
was
know what I'm
slaughtering
saying?
an animal, is what he was doing, because
Yeah,
that's what we are,
yeah,
is
they
animals,
whooped his ass.
and they say it. And ironically, when we were on the slave block, getting ready to be traded, when they described us, we're getting ready to be sold. When they described us like animals. This guy would be a perfect slave. Look at his hindquarters. Look at his buttocks. Look at his thighs. He'll make a perfect slave. He'll work all day long. Look at his build.
Right. Yeah.
And these are the things that we have to contend with. You know, we got to remember that black people are the only people who received a form of capital punishment just because of the color of our skin. What are the forms of capital punishment? Electrocution, gas, firing squad, and hanging.
Right.
We were hanged. That's what you do to people that are the worst of the worst. And we were hanged just for being black. And we have to remember that. And I really believe that the reason why we don't get full disclosure with the UFO and other worldly issue is because I don't believe that the white European system is ready to accept that they will no longer be top dog. If you've been top dog on a planetary system, or if you've been top dog on a planet and its whole system, its economy, how people eat, when they get to eat, their transportation, war, when they win, when they lose, you have been the king of the hill for the past 2,000 years since
Right.
Christianity. It is going to be a hard pill to swallow to know that not only can somebody knock you off that hill when they get there, but they don't even have to use force because they're so advanced. And I really believe that is, you know, I don't believe that it's, hey, if alien
You know
visitors
how
came.
close we are? You know how close we are, whether people look at the news or don't look at the news? We are close as hell to getting into it with Russia. Russia is pushing a narrative against the United States, homie, over this Ukraine war and us supporting them. Now they saying that we were the ones that tried to send a drone over to execute their president. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's they shit they pushing. You know what I'm saying? If they push it and you get your people to run behind what you might want to do, you know what I'm saying? And there are videos, I haven't put them up or not, that there's
and that's why I was
UFOs
telling you. That's what I was
interfering
telling you
with
in
that.
Cowboy. I was telling you in Cowboy at the time, you know, last year, the best thing to do is buy Russia's debt. Because you can't go to war with a debt collector.
Right.
Because the debt collector is fighting with more money than you got. If you had more money than the debt collector, you wouldn't be in debt.
Yeah.
But if you own a person's debt, you own them. If you got back child support,
here's the thing.
if you ain't paid the medical bill, guess what? They could sue you. They could garnish your wages. They can make it real hard for you to eat.
Okay, you see what G-Man said. I have to disagree with that. One, they manipulated the man we all know, World War II. Oh, Will and Jada is with the he wasn't the first to hit Jada. Won't be the last. Oh, he went back to the Jada thing.
I cannot. Here's where I gotta disagree with you, Glenn. A man has to go through the process of becoming Peter. As we said, Peter means rock, which is why it's used for that male member. And that particular part of our anatomy and the way we handle it, when we're younger, we don't know how to control it. But when we older, it's easier to reject women because of your male member. And I really think that at the time, you don't have to have any manipulation. If Jada Pinkett walked up on me, I wasn't in no relationship, I wasn't serious, I wasn't married, I wasn't nothing, and she's married, and she's like, I'm in an open relationship, she does not have to say anything else to manipulate me.
Right.
She's Jada. You see what I'm saying?
He said he was talking about it. G-Man, he must have went out or something. He asking again about the reparations. We were just talking about the reparations. You know what I mean? I don't know if you keep going in or out.
The reparations panel have agreed on the amount of 1.2 million per African American that lives in California that can trace their heritage back to slavery. I hope you heard at that time. And regardless of if Will and Jada are into anything freaky, that still don't take away from the fact that he went and told the public. You just don't tell the public. If I don't know, I really don't have a celebrity crush or anything like that. You know, I got a whole ass family. So I would have to just hypothetically, if Janet Jackson came to me and said, I'm going to take you on a cruise to a beach, to a private island, to whatever, I'm not going to go and tell the world, hey, I got to come out and tell you guys something happened between me and Janet Jackson. And the reason why I'm telling you is because my work life has been affected. Well, your work life wouldn't have been affected had you not been talking about it. You know, as a man, keep your discretions and indiscretions discreet. There's nothing to say. Maybe one or two of your best friends you tell, but that's not something that you make public for your own personal gain. And the reason why we could say it was his own personal gain is he could not have possibly been too hurt if he made a song about it and then released that song for a profit. You know, like if I'm hurt and I'm manipulated and something happened to me, guess what? I'm not about to make a song about it to make money. If somebody raped me, if somebody caused bodily harm to me, if somebody manipulated me, if somebody kidnapped me, and it was that traumatic, if it was that traumatizing, there's no way I'm gonna make a song about it to make money. There's no way I'm gonna make a song about it and put it out there to,
right, yeah,
you know, to make a profit off of it. You know,
did what you call him do that to Chris Rock because of what?
You know, I
to make himself bigger, because he already knew. Look, Chris Rock really didn't say nothing wrong. You was pushing your weight on homie. You knew that you bigger than him, and you know what I'm saying.
I think you know, Chris Rock and Jada have been going at it for a while.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Chris, when Jada wanted to boycott the Oscars because Will wasn't nominated for an Oscar, and Chris Rock responded because he was hosting then, you know, boycotting something, and nobody asked you to come anyway. You know, responding to her when he didn't have to respond. He's responded to her before in ways that can be considered tasteless, but as a comedian, he's supposed to make jokes. And also, you know, California men, we have a different type of swagger. We have a different type of movement. And And for Will to play Venus and Serena's dad, and to have to get into character, to play Richard Williams, I think some of that rubbed off on him. You know what I'm saying? I think some of that, as a man, I'm gonna protect my family, because people forget it was a big night for him too. He was nominated for the Oscar. You had Venus and Serena sitting there. This was the first Oscar that was being produced by African American. Why would he want to mess it up? This was a big night for everybody. And
here's the thing, though.
Compton was in the spotlight, so he probably did what he thought.
Did he mess it up?
Or Ice Cube or somebody from Compton would have done after absorbing the character and seeing all that this man did for his daughters. Actors when they getting ready for a part, and that part is a person that actually lived or is alive, they submerge themselves into that person, and they do it all the way through shooting the movie. So when they are done shooting the movie, a part of that person is still in them. Now, the question is, would Richard Williams walked up and slapped somebody for saying something crazy to his daughters or their mom at the time? Most likely. He most likely would have walked up and slapped somebody, and also.
But you know what? What you're saying is real. You heard about the actor that played in Boys in the Hood. He was the one in the car that shot what you call him in the alley, right?
Right.
Dude was just an actor. The nigga turned straight out. He turned his character into his real life and ended up getting.
He thought he thought shooting somebody in a movie was his put on.
Yeah.
He thought he really got put on by shooting somebody who got up and dusted himself off after the credits started rolling.
Hey, they say that nigga went in that motherfucker and blasted the motherfuckers, went to the penitentiary. He got killed in the penitentiary.
He went all the way. He went as far as you can go. And because he picked up on it from a movie script that wasn't real, he didn't have the grounding in the rules of what this gangbanging life really is.
Right.
He had to go off of what he understood from his
Boss Charles. What's good with you, homie?
Role. So they brought the man in as a friend to the youngest boy, Jaden, to mentor him. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, sir? Mr. Keith Cross in the building. Listen.
Yeah. Okay, Charles, man.
It don't matter. It don't matter how you bring somebody into the house, even if he was Jaden's friend. Regardless, you have to understand, and I know you understand this, Glenn. Every man
that in there, Boss Claus, if you ain't doing shit.
Every man that every man has a fantasy woman.
Right.
Most of the time when you get a fantasy woman, you get your fantasy woman at around 14, 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? 14, 15 years old. You see a woman that, for a lot of people, it was Thelma from Good Times. For a lot of people, it was. So Thelma from Good Times walks up on 22-year-old Goob and says, my husband out of town, he don't care. My bedroom is right over here. 22, 23-year-old Goob is like, this is Thelma from Good Times. I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have to do this, but I'm going to put on my best Olympic performance. I'm going to the Olympics. I'm doing the hurdles. I'm doing the 100-yard dash. I'm throwing the javelin. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the discus. I'm doing every Olympic event. I'm doing the Greco-Roman wrestling. I'm doing everything for Thelma from Good Times. You see what I'm saying?
What's up with you, Barbara Charles?
Top of the morning from Istanbul, fellas.
Yeah, what's going on, brother? And you have to, and another thing is, like I say, as we get older, we understand what a wife is. What we understand as a wife when we're younger and what we believe she's supposed to do for us as a partner is completely different from what a wife is to us when we get older. Our understanding of that partnership is completely different. Just like
I know, but look though, even though he got the Oscar on me, that ain't a little bit of discouraged. I mean, like he downed his name by doing that to Chris Rock, a little nigga like that. Chris, I mean, you never gonna get over it. He already banned from it. So any movie he made,
I gotta disagree with you, Goo, because I know you have hands, and you are not the biggest dude in the streets. If I'm just saying, in the streets, I've seen the smallest dude wear some muscle-bound men out.
look,
am I right or am I wrong?
You're right, but look, that's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rock was at a position, homie, where niggas ain't getting to. What you call them wanted to get there. They took that shit from him, right? Right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't very many blacks that host the Oscars, homie. What I'm saying is, nigga, you had to do it. Okay, what if it was a white comedian did that shit? He would have went up and smacked that motherfucker.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so because I believe with these people, they just need a reason. It's just like as many times as Kevin Hart has been on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
What you miss 702?
Hey, Miss 702. As many times as Kevin Hart has been on the Ellen DeGeneres show, talking about he's an advocate and he's a friend to the homosexual community. The moment they went all the way back to that joke where he said, if my son was gay, I slapped the gay out of him or whatever. Right. Did he not lose it? These people, all they need is a reason. Because they took that whole hosting job from Kevin Hart because of the joke he told. If my son is gay and I see him and he's walking around at 7 years old, I'm going to whoop the gay out of him. That shit happened way before he got that hosting job.
It's that joke when he said he'll throw the dollhouse on the nigga.
Yeah, the dog, right. The dollhouse. The dollhouse. After that joke, he made 100 appearances on Ellen.
That shit was funny as fuck, though.
He told everybody, I'm a friend of the gays. I'm good. We good. I'm a friend.
Right.
But somebody reached all the way back and found it. Now, if they really wanted him to be the host, he would have been the host. Let me tell you, we got so many punks right now. Do you know how many people need to be crying about Farrakhan? You remember Farrakhan had the Cherry Clan that looked like the Asian with the straw hat. They now cherry heads. Alexander the Great. You know what I'm saying? We had racism on our candy.
Yeah.
Are you going to go back and say you can't eat cherry heads no more because back in 85 on the box, the cherry head had slanted eyes and a straw hat? So we shouldn't eat them in 2023 because in 1985, it was a racist box. They had a dude in a skirt and called him Alexander the Great. So the Greek people should be mad, and we shouldn't eat the grape heads now.
Oh, hey,
Johnny Appletreat. The other one was Johnny Appletreat, and now it's racist too. And now they just apple heads, but we ain't supposed to eat them. Come on, I mean, when is it gonna stop?
Hey, it ain't gonna never stop as long as they run this bitch.
I mean.
So
if we really, all three of us have heard African booty scratcher.
Yeah.
All three of us have heard. Me Chinese slanted eyes, me put PP in your what?
Yeah.
We heard it.
You see what she said? She said something about San Bernardino, the sheriffs. They had to pay that hacker $1 million. I didn't hear about it.
It's a whole bunch of law
You heard about that?
Yeah, the rules are changing. The rules are changing. You got the police watching everything on social media. But the question is, how much of your rights are diminished if you doing your show out of your house? Is it an invasion of your privacy if I, as law enforcement, decide to watch your show and incriminate you because you said something from inside your house, which is your domain, technically you have a right to privacy.
Yeah.
So the rules of this cyber warfare is changing, because now with these idiots putting bands of money to their ear, and then they plan out how they gonna kill the person. They plan out what car they gonna drive. They plan out that they gonna put 89 octane in the car. They plan out that they gonna go to McDonald's first. They plan out their playlist. They plan out which jewelry they gonna steal. They plan out how they gonna kill the nigga, but they don't plan out how they gonna get away.
That's fact.
And get busted. They plan out everything except the important part, which is how you gonna leave.
Every motherfucker that you see on First 48 and all that, them niggas be. I just be listening. When I see some of the cases, I be like, oh nigga, you finna do a whole lot of time, homie. Oh, you got a lot of time to do, my nigga. You know
we don't have
because they ain't got it
allowed. We are not allowed to stand, huh?
Hey, look, the niggas that killed Extinction or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
They had them niggas on video peeping out the nigga. They walked in the same store that he walked in. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you right there on that shit. It's no different than on this internet, homie. Shit that you say eventually, I don't give a fuck. If you say, you better hope don't nair motherfucker. If you say, nigga, I'm killing your motherfucking ass, you better hope to God that nigga don't die.
Smile. You're on Candid Camera. Remember that
nigga,
show?
You gonna have to explain some shit, nigga.
Well, okay. So let's I'm not trying to dick ride just because he's on the show right now. But we are not allowed to acknowledge and respect black men, black people who make their mark where other black men and black people from the same area didn't get to do it. And it's because we are not allowed to have a true culture. Our culture is artificial. I would say Keith is better than George Mikan. When George Mikan played, the average guy was 6'10", 6'8" at center. But they're not going to put his statue anywhere in front of an arena because they are still worshiping their George Mikans of the past. That's why the argument about Michael Jordan is so stringent, and we have to protect who we call GOATs and why we call them GOATs, because Kareem played in a waffle shoe. So if Kareem scored all them points in a Converse and no 3-pointers, then I'm not angry at LeBron and I'm not angry at Jordan and I'm not disrespecting them. But there was no ankle support in a Converse.
Sure what?
None. And when you run in a Converse, when the shoe goes up and your foot go up, it pinches your feet at the toes. And when you had shell toes and you tried to play in shell toes, they said, put on the shell toes, this to protect you. You take them off and your toes are bleeding. So you can't say who was beat greater, Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, and really put your money on Mike Tyson, because Muhammad Ali didn't have protein powder. Muhammad Ali didn't have diet and training tips. Muhammad Ali didn't have injury prevention. So when you see somebody like George Mikan, and they still have him over Shaq as far as Lakers centers, we have to have a problem with that. And it's the same thing with hip hop. The moment you get past 15 years in hip hop, nobody's coming to your shows anymore. Nobody's supporting you the way that they were supporting you. And that's our fault, because once we start showing that decline, you know what we end up with? We end up with a guy named Macklemore rapping. We end up with a guy named Machine Gun Kelly, or whatever he calls himself, rapping. And we wonder, how did hip hop get invaded? It's because we didn't support and stay on top of our game with the true hip hoppers who were leading the way. And then you're going to support Machine Gun Kelly when his competition releases a song where one guy is saying Gucci gang, 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 and then the other nigga is saying panda, 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 panda. Well, if them is my two options from minorities, then I guess I'm going to listen to the guy who talked about going into Goodwill and buying shirts. Because I can understand going into Goodwill and buying shirts, because there was a time where I had to go into Goodwill and buy shirts. And hip hop is supposed to be about what connects to us. I seen this man in the Carson Mall. I seen you in the Carson Mall years ago. You were surrounded by people, like people was just coming up on you. You still had a head full of hair. Thin as a twig. I'm like, there go Keith Kloss. Now, he's saying cuz loud. It's Bloods in the building. He don't care. He's standing in front of a store that was right next to the cigar shop. There's a cigar shop and there was a clothing store that everybody would go into, and they would get clothes. The clothes would be fly, but we all knew they was expensive. He didn't get to go into the store yet because everybody had surrounded him. Every third word out of his mouth was cuz. It was a bunch of Bloods there too. But guess what? They didn't bother him because of who he was. It's Keith Kloss. You see what I'm saying? And we supposed to pay that homage and that respect all the way through. Because what is this about the athletes in the hood? The athletes in the hood are exempt from gang banging unless they want a gang bang. If the gangbangers think you're going to go somewhere, they're going to be like, nah, homie, this ain't for you. You stay over there and you do what you're supposed to do. And guess what? When Bloods and Crips see that out of a black man, that potential, we all stand down and be like, brother, that's not taken away from his cripping. That's not taken away from the fact that every third word out of his mouth was cuz. That I'm just saying that this is how we are supposed to do it. You shouldn't have to walk around with security, because every time you see another black man, that's your security while that black man is in your vicinity.
You know what?
Need him to be a Blood.
When you say that, Omar,
somebody fucking with him, I'm a drop everything and help him. I'm helping him because he me. Right. I look in the mirror, he look in the mirror, I look in the mirror, you look in the mirror, we us. And that's where we
It took me a while to understand that. Oh, it took me a while to understand that. You know what I mean? I know because exactly. I identify with that.
We get indoctrinated. In a real way. I love Nipsey, and Nipsey had his point. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just a marathon. Some people do run a sprint and get there early. But some people run a sprint, get there early, and because they don't have financial advice, or because they don't have an understanding of putting the right people around them, they done sprinted, they done got the money, and then they done lost the money. Some people get the money at the end, and it is a marathon for them. But we shouldn't qualify whether or not it's a marathon or a sprint, or which one's better or which one's worse. We supposed to celebrate the fact that niggas is still running the race, period. Run your race. If you a sprinter, I got you. If you run a marathon, I got you. If you a triathlete, I got you. I'm not supposed to say what the race is. I'm supposed to be proud of you for running yours.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And for that matter, we should all still be listening to MC Shan. For that matter, we should all still be listening to Rakim. You know what I'm saying? For that matter, we should all still be listening. It shouldn't just be throw Tupac in. It shouldn't just be throw Biggie in. We supposed to be throwing all the old school stuff on and teaching these youngsters, you know, listen to the message. Because in the message, it says don't become a slave to the computer. And the message was released in what, 79? And what are our kids doing right now? The reason why they can't see the UFOs because they face is stuck in the phone, and the phone is a computer. So we done became a slave to the computer because we ain't heeding the messages of the ones that came before us. Damn it, what's the name of the song? The Message.
Hey, was it The Message? Hold on.
The Message.
Let's let these niggas know what the message is. Cause they ain't here.
I'm just
and this was in when the message come out, 80?
It was either 79 or 80. The message came out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was saying some real shit.
But
shit
everything in that song is relevant today. So now when I listen to hip hop, I don't listen for bars. I don't listen for wordplay because wordplay does not matter to me anymore because I don't learn nothing. But when I listen to something like The Message and it's relevant 20, 30 years later, that's real hip hop to me because I could play it for a kid and say, listen to it. You about to drop it? You about to play it?
Yeah, my camera went out. I don't know what the hell I hit. But yeah, hold on. Which one came out?
So, but while you pulling it up, I say so. Keith's word is supposed to come through us. He's supposed to be valuable because we make him valuable and make other people see his value and respect it.
This shit has some lyrics, nigga, back in that day.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring as the breezes blow. A crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. Used to be a fag hag, such a dance to tango. Skipped the life and tango. A zircon princess seemed to lost her senses. Down at the peep show, watching all the creeps, so she could tell her stories to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so did it. She had to get a bitch, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
My brother's doing fast on my mother's TV. Says she watches too much, it's just not healthy. All my children in the daytime, Dallas at night. Can't even see the game or the Sugar Ray fight. The bill collectors, they ring my phone and scare my wife when I'm not home. Got a bum education, double digit inflation. Can't take the train to the job, there's a strike at the station. A neon King Kong standing on my back, can't stop to turn around. Broke my sacroiliac, a mid-range migraine, cancer membrane. Sometimes I think I'm going insane, I swear I might hijack a plane. Don't push me, calm, I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. My son said, Daddy, I don't want to go to school cause the teacher's a jerk. He must think I'm a fool and all the kids smoke reefer. I think it'd be cheaper if I just got a job, learn to be a street sweeper. I dance to the beat, shuffle my feet, wear a shirt and tie and run with the creeps. Cause it's all about money, ain't a damn thing funny. You got to have a con in this land of milk and honey. They pushed that girl in front of the train, took her to the doctor, sewed her arm on the game. Stabbed that man right in his heart. Gave him a transplant for a brand new start. I can't walk through the park cause it's crazy after dark. Keep my hand on my gun cause they got me on the run. I feel like an outlaw, broke my last jaw. Hear them say you want some more, living on a seesaw. Don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. You say what? It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God is smiling on you, but he's frowning too, because only God knows what you'll go through. You'll grow in the ghetto, living second rate, and your eyes will sing a song of deep hate. The places you play and where you stay looks like one great big alleyway. You'll admire all the number book takers, thugs, pimps, and pushers, and the big money makers, driving big cars, spending 20s and 10s, and you want to grow up to be just like them. Smugglers, scramblers, burglars, gamblers, pickpocket peddlers, even panhandlers. You say I'm cool, I'm no fool, but then you wind up dropping out of high school. Now you're unemployed, all non-void, walking around like your pretty boy Floyd. Turned stick-up kid, but look what you done did. Got sent up for an 8-year bid. Now your manhood is took and you're a make tag. Spend the next 2 years as an undercover fag, being used and abused to serve like hell. Till one day you was found hung dead in the cell. It was plain to see that your life was lost. You was cold and your body swung back and forth. But now your eyes sing the sad, sad song of how you lived so fast and died so young. So don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Yo, Mel, you see that girl, man? Yeah, man. Yo, that sound like Cowboy, man. Yo, what's up, buddy? Yo. Hey, where's Quill and Raheem, man? They lay upstairs cooling out. So what's up for the night, y'all? Yo, we can go down and get here. Hey, yo, you know that girl?
Right? Because a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. A baby don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We got to teach them that.
Nigga. Hey, if you listen to the motherfucking lyrics and go back, you got to understand. Nigga, this was 1970, what, 8, 9?
And that is something what like hip-hop is supposed to be. Hip-hop is supposed to be a song that once it is made, you don't just remember where you were when you hear it. It's also a timeless song. It's timeless. It don't matter when you hear it, it's still relevant. That's what made Tupac better than Biggie, because he can kick in the door, wave in the 4-4. All you heard was Papa Don't Hit Me No More. But what do you learn from that verse? What do you learn from that hook? Nothing. You just learned he's kicking in the door. You just learned that he has a 4-4. But you don't learn anything. But when you hear that Brenda's got a baby, but Brenda's barely got a brain, a damn shame, you know what I'm saying? When you hear that, that is what it says, oh, we still got these kids making babies. And now the fire department, see you later. See you later, Miss 702. The fire department done had to make places for people to drop off their abandoned babies. But Brenda's got a baby is now 30 years old, if you could believe that.
Yeah.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? So it's supposed to be what we are supposed to pass down in hip hop is not wordplay. What we are supposed to pass down in hip hop, this was our chance to become griots. This was our chance to become the African historians that creates a lesson to pass down to the next generation. And because we became more concerned with bars, and flows and cadence, we lost the messages that we were supposed to give these kids. And these kids, they just simply don't get it because we didn't give it to them. And they are the children. These are the children of the crack babies. The crack baby generation is making babies now. Because the people who were born in 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, their parents was on crack. They 38 years old. They 36 years old. So guess what that means? That means that when they 17-year-old kid goes on Facebook and kills their enemy, and you ask, why would you record killing your enemy on Facebook? And the kid says, I don't know. He really don't know because he's a crack baby. And let me tell you, the drug addiction works like, have you ever seen somebody addicted to alcohol? They be sober for a year and then they watch the Super Bowl and one Budweiser commercial come on and now they done drank 3 beers. These kids don't know that they are the children of crack babies. They don't know that. So when they hear a trap song, when they hear it, it triggers something in their mind that takes them back to the drugs. If you don't believe me, think about the old comedy TV shows that had 2 men in it, the old comedy movies that had 2 men in it, going all the way back to the 50s. The guy who didn't tell any jokes was the straight man. The guy who was the comedian, what they call him? They called the comedian funny.
So they call it
the Odd Couple, funny. He's the funny guy, and he's the straight. As a kid, you don't understand that. You think they really talking about he's the comedian in the show, and he's the guy who doesn't tell any jokes. Now, what do you call a heterosexual and a homosexual? Funny and straight. But they've been indoctrinating us with this for so long. How do you know if you are a man that really believe that you're a woman? Do you believe that because you know what it feels like to be a woman? Or do you believe that because you know what it feels like to be a woman? Or do you believe that because you're going based on what society says a woman is? Well, you can't really know what it feels like to be a woman because biologically, you're not one yet.
Yeah.
So you must be operating.
You ain't finna go through your shit every month.
Yeah, you must be operating on what you have seen on TV. And this is, and it's so bad that the Black woman, the creator of all civilization and all races, started off as the mother of the earth. And they ran game on us. And the game that they ran on us got us looking at basketball wives, and not one of them is married.
Right.
And they spend the man's money, and they have an attitude, and they don't cook, and they don't want to take care of their damn kids, and they want to put on fake eyelashes. They want the best wig or the best weave. They want the brand new Rolls Royce. They want the Phantom. They want the Land Rover, and he ain't even married you yet. Why would I want you? What do you bring to the table for me and my kids? Because the productivity is what comes out of our children that we create. Who are they going to become? And me seeing you twerk on Instagram does not show me your value. Because once I've seen the ass in person, I have no reason to stick around. Can you make grits? If you can't make grits, I'm going to be hungry. And I'm sorry, but I'm not eating your ass in the morning. I'm looking for grits.
Right. Okay.
So showing me if the only value you have only gets you likes, let me tell you where it's cold. The men you meet will only like you. If you show your value and on social media, all you get is likes. When you meet them men in the real world, all they will do is like you. They will never love you because you have not given this person something to love. Now, that's on the first date, second date, third date. We have to have something in common, and we both have to have something of value before we start saying, I love you. How many times do you have to shake your ass in front of me before I say I love you? Goddamn, sounds like the Tootsie Roll commercial. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? He bites it at 3. That's what happens on the third date in every relationship.
Hey, let me ask you, Claude, out there, what is it like different from out here? What is more different, say, from where you grew up or where you been out here compared to what it is out there? Because a lot of motherfuckers, well, they can say whatever they want to, nigga, you not in this country. And that's why I get pissed off like a motherfucker, down a motherfucker. Nigga, if I had the possibility of leaving America just to go see some other shit, nigga, and be there and I'm doing what I love, what I did, nigga, but I wouldn't be this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
One thing for sure, I don't have to look over my shoulders when I'm outside, when I'm going to the store, when I'm walking through the mall. You know?
Right.
You don't have
nobody.
to
I don't have to fear nobody. You know, worry about nobody sneaking up on me, running up on me. You know, with ill intent.
Right.
And that's all. And because black people stay in the same areas here in America, that's how it should be here. When we go to the mall and we see other black men, we supposed to know that we safe.
Hey, look, you know, hey, you been out. Look, let me cut you off real quick.
No, go
You've
ahead.
been out here. You've been out here where I'm at in AZ. Mm-hmm. You know how these niggas, you'll see a nigga in the store, nigga, it's a 50, 60 motherfucking white folks in this motherfucker. Me and you the only nigga in this bitch. And you look at me like, nigga, I say, nigga, in my mind, I be like, nigga, I'm the only one gonna help your ass. They gonna beat the dog shit out you, nigga. Why you looking up inside my motherfucking head? Or, you know, just giving that look. Like, you know, you might say, what's up, and the motherfucker just look at you. Like, damn, nigga, I hope you don't get into it. You know what I'm saying? Because you done fucked yours off with me from the start. But that's how motherfuckers is out here. And it's a lot of them that have white women. So they don't want to be associated that, I guess that change their ways. You know what I mean?
It just like
conform to what she's saying. You shouldn't act like. You know what I mean? So you can't have no black friends. You're gonna have all my white friends.
East Mesa.
You know one thing. You know one thing I had to get used to though out here is, you know, back home we all about, you know, protecting our space. You know what I mean? Where you don't just let a stranger come up and put their hands on you.
Right.
You know, in any way. You know, and here they real touchy. You know, they'll come up to you, they'll come up to you, Goo, and they'll grab you by the arm, you know, to get your attention for something. You know what I mean? And they don't mean any harm by it. But you know,
that's something that we'll be like, homie, what you rep?
Being conditioned in the way that I am, You know, sometimes still just the other day I pushed the dude up off of me. You know what I mean? Because I just happen to, you know, have one of the moments where I forgot I'm not back at the crib. You know, a dude grabbed me and I pushed the shit out of him. You know, but then I remember where I was at and I apologized, and you know, he said, "Okay, no problem, no problem." But you know, damn, that's some real shit
out there. But you know what?
Yeah.
If you look at
everywhere I've been in this world, that's how they are with you. You know, they crowd you on a bus. They packed in that motherfucker like sardines, and you know, maybe there's room for one person, and four motherfuckers gonna try to force their way in to where the door can't even shut. You know, we don't tolerate that back home. You know, if there ain't no room, you ain't about to push your way up in here. You know, and damn, stepping on my shoes, then we got a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's learned behavior. We have to determine where we learn the behavior from, because the most loving time in Black America is Sunday at church, unless you walk in late. If you walk into church late, everybody is going to turn around and look at you, especially all the grandmas. Like, if you want to say, look, grandma, I know I'm 2 minutes late, but at least I'm in church. I could be shooting dice, hanging out, shooting shit, doing something else. I could be watching football on Sunday, but because I'm 5 minutes late to church and I opened up the door and the choir is still singing, all 150 of y'all gonna turn around and get me to do something, look me up and down and be ready to throw me out. We can't. It's just something that is a learned behavior where we want to scold.
Because look,
anyone
like
that
you
breaks
say,
the program.
Hey, Omar, like you were saying, like in that country, them motherfuckers is with the closeness. Like you got to be right up on the motherfucker to talk to them, because every picture I see or video that they show of places like that, Afghanistan, different other spots out there in the Middle East and whatnot. Them niggas is huddled right up on each other. You know what I'm saying? Where in the United States, you and your homie like, man, why you that close to me, homie? You know what I mean?
In America,
you see what I'm saying?
In America,
we just like that.
In America, a YouTuber is the most popular person in the country. Jake Paul, and he's popular for keeping it real, and he's the fakest person in the world. That's not even him, but everybody loves him and they don't know why. It's just a testament of where we are in this country. The faker you are, the realer it gets, and guess what? The more wrong it is, the better it feels.
Yup. Facts.
And that's how we end up getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? See, we done all been in Tower Records and did the 5-finger discount because the CD was just a little bit too much. And then when you go back to Tower Records and you got enough for the CD, if you done got away with the 5-finger discount when you didn't have the money, I'm going to get away with it now, and I'm going to go on and do the 5-finger discount again, and then I'm going to take my CD money, and I'm going to run over there to Jack in the Box, and now I done got me a CD for free, and I done got me something to eat. I feel good because I done had a come up, but you shouldn't feel good about that, because what you are doing is being a willing victim of society, and what society has said, you are supposed to accept this. You are supposed to accept this as the norm, but we don't have to accept it as the norm.
Other than penitentiary, other than jail, out here is nothing to some of the shit. If you go to certain countries where niggas stealing, get your hand cut off, you ain't about to steal. But we never gonna get that far because, hey, man, democratic society that's not going to allow motherfucker to cut. We'll allow a nigga to get some juice put in and they don't know how it's going to work. You know what I'm saying? When they execute a motherfucker. But other than that, we not going to get the strenuous thing, just like the shooters. Everybody going up in mass shootings. Mass shooting is any more than 3. Nigga, we done had about 1,000 this goddamn year already. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they're afraid of out here when it comes to America. That's one thing that my friends always mention about why they won't go to America, why they're afraid to go to America. Because, you know, everybody has multiple guns and there's so many mass shootings. They're afraid of that, you know?
Yeah.
And so what once used to be the American dream is now turned into the American nightmare.
Whoa, that's deep. That's deep. And not only is it deep, but it's polished. What you fellas think about Africa moving away from the US dollar? Well, that's why they killed Gaddafi. They killed Gaddafi because Gaddafi got all of the Africans together and said, hey, we got more gold than everybody. Let's have one African currency and we'll be at the top of the food chain. And, you know, Barack Obama was told to do what he had to do. And Gaddafi was killed. And
but you
didn't
But
have
you see why what you call him come in, and when he gets president, he calls them all shithole countries. You know what I'm saying? Even knowing, nigga, they probably got more money than you even know about. You know what I'm saying? We on borrowed money throughout our
all the resources.
He calls it a shithole. See, my belief is reparations for slavery should go to Africa. Because you didn't just take black people, you took black families, you took doctors, you took lawyers, you took generations. Slavery reparations should go to Africa. Reparations for African Americans should come from the Iran-Contra affair when y'all put dope into our neighborhoods. Reparations for African Americans should come from redlining. Reparations for African Americans should come from the Jim Crow laws. Reparations for African Americans should come from you hanging me from a tree. Reparations from African Americans should be you ran me out of my house, took my household, I done paid for it, but a white family claiming homestead can take my house from me. We have enough here in America that we have been done so wrong, we could really take our pick of what we want reparations on, but in some way, shape, or form, you have to give back to Africa, because not only De Beers did you take the diamonds, not only South America, not only Europe did you go down and you take the lower horn of Africa and decide to make it South Africa and bring in apartheid. Not only did you steal everything out of Egypt, including the identity, because if the people who live in Egypt now was the people who lived in Egypt then, your ass would know how to build the pyramid. But because you don't know how to build the pyramid, you couldn't possibly be the people that was living there when the pyramids got built. So you owe restitution for the fact that you stole human resources, and you got to pay that back, buddy, because there's enough for me and mine to go around. The fact that the credit system still exists in America to keep black people poor, you have to understand what Equifax, TransUnion, and the rest of them are all about and how it ties into redlining. The reason why you live in 90220 Compton and the white kid lives in 90210 is because when the white kid at 18 years old decides to get that Porsche and he puts his address down and he put down 90210, which is Beverly Hills, they gonna finance him that Porsche whether he got a job or not. But you send a black kid at 18 years old to go get financing for that Porsche and he puts in 90220, which is Compton, they gonna tell you you ain't got enough credit. after running your credit 50 times, and you're going to have 51 inquiries, and now your credit is 300, and somebody going to tell you, well, you didn't understand fiscal responsibility. You messed up your credit, and now it's going to take you 5 years for some shit you can't do nothing about. They done put you back in prison for 5 years without putting you behind bars, because without credit, you can't move. So they still redlining you. They still redlining you.
Right.
They still finding ways to keep you in chains. They still finding ways to keep you arrested, because the moment you get them inquiries, and them inquiries is worth 5 points, and I don't care who you are, the auto industry will send your credit and your social security off to 10 lenders, and all 10 lenders is going to run your credit. 10 times 5 is 50. Now you minus 50 points, and it's on your credit that you was told no. So now you got to wait before you can buy a good car, or go buy a bad car on a bad deal and risk losing your job, because when it's time to drive that bad car with 150,000 miles on it, it's going to break down, and now you got unreliable transportation. So there are ways to put you in a hole, and you think you just got bad luck. No, you don't have bad luck. It's still a part of a plan to keep you down. Because if you got poor transportation, you're not going to keep your job. And if you try to keep your job with poor transportation, you're not going to be able to feed your kid, because you always doing what? Trying to fix that damn poor transportation. And because the Honda dealership ran your credit 50 damn times, now you got a car that got 150,000 miles on it. It cost you $26,000. You got finance. Now it's a $40,000 car. The shit's really only worth 15, and you in an upside down driving off the lot.
Right.
It's done to you on purpose. So that's why I go back to when I say we've already had disclosure. We've already been told everything they're gonna tell us about intelligence that's not from Earth.
Hey, look, since you brought that up,
absolutely.
Let me bring this video up. This is over California. You know what I'm saying? I took out the audio for it. But that's
and Miss 702 said before she left, OMAR Christopher Dorner didn't plan his getaway. What you say? How we know? How we know they got Christopher Dorner? They set the cabin on fire.
Yeah.
How we know he didn't roll up under the cabin and get out? What we got, Goose? Show me what we got.
I would guess whatever it is, these right here. That right there.
Oh man. Don't they look like some Nilla wafers?
Yeah, but
how can you fake that? You can't fake that. That's not fake.
Yeah. I can't get, because people will say it's a meteor or something like that, but they basically in formation.
Yeah, they in formation. They lined up.
I had to put something.
That's just like what they tried to say about the Phoenix Lights. Remember they were trying to say the Phoenix Lights?
Yeah. I was trying to put something in the background when I played it.
All right.
I just got to get some. I'm going to play it. I got a couple of them that's on here. But these are over California.
I'm smoking weed till my lips turn black. Now we pressing through your turf. We finna put in work. We squeeze triggers till the triggers don't run. Click. Extra click for the Johnny just in case they get behind me. Homicide.
He got a good ass camera. That shit is crazy right there.
Man. And how are those three at the bottom right next to each other and not hitting each other?
Hey, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at that.
That's cold game right there, because he's kind of the top one and the bottom one are parallel to each other, and the two in the middle are parallel to each other.
Yeah. And it look like they still going across the sky. They ain't going down. Even the ones that's turned down, look, they only go down a little bit.
And the bottom would look like it's separated from the one in the middle.
That's crazy.
Damn,
Here go another one. So they don't know what this is. If they was meteor, wouldn't they be going at an angle that's going down? Wouldn't they be going down?
Yeah, they would. And if they was players, they wouldn't be doing that. And how do they have perfect spacing? How are they meteors with perfect spacing? They should have ran into each other by now. Gravity should have pulled them together, especially them two in the middle.
And the two in the middle. That's what I was thinking.
And what was that thing? What was that green thing?
That was just a bug or something, I think.
Oh, okay.
But see how they just disappear.
Right.
Here's another view of it. It's the same view, but somebody in a different part of California, in a different city.
Two of them went behind the clouds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we can see right now. But then there was two of them that was in between them two, the ones that are really gapped out. Gee whiz.
That just went to the clouds. Shout out to UFO Sightings Daily. That's where I got a couple of these videos from.
Daily.
This is another view over another time over California. This is a statement. In Santa Rosa, eyewitness say 6 objects in formation. 2 sets of 3. This one was weird. So I want you to look at these lights. Watch what they do.
Whoa.
You see that shit?
So they blink 3 times and then they take off.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Bam.
They just take the fuck off.
Whiz.
Oh, I have to look at it again. You just gotta. I mean, real. I mean, you know,
that's more impressive than a street takeover.
Yeah, if you talk about shit that's crazy in the sky, you think by the lights, they are them lights that be in Vegas, you know, that stream lights or whatever.
1, 2, 3, go. Wow.
And they just move.
The strobe. I mean, not the strobe lights, but the searchlights. The searchlights you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they used to have at the movie premieres and stuff way back.
That ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Look at these motherfuckers.
Yeah. If they were searchlights, then we would have seen the lights going upward, seen the upward trail.
And so I have a video.
What the hell is
the reason I put this one up right here, this one, is because I have a video. I couldn't download it. Shade had went outside and she was calling me, "Dad, come here. She was taking a video outside the front yard, and it was an object just like this, right? So then by the time I got outside, she was like, "Oh, that one left." Another one came, and I filmed that on my camera, and she filmed it as well. But it looks just like this little orange orb right here. Oh, what'd I do? And it was just what this object is doing. It looked like a ball of fire, and then it just disappeared.
Now, if the thing going across the screen in the opposite direction, that don't look like an airplane.
Nah.
That kind of glowy thing above it, that don't look like an airplane.
No, that's sitting at the top. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even notice that.
Oh, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like a ball of gas It's like whatever is making it move without its propulsion, it's reacting with the atmosphere and it's causing the lights.
Yeah. It's some type of technology that we don't have that's making it. Now people will believe that, oh, that's just some government shit that we doing. Now they did that shit when they shot down them after they did the balloon thing. They just had to show the United States we're gonna shoot down a couple more. They've been seeing these little orbs, these little projectiles. A dude, one of the government people, got on there and said there's a mothership above us that's sending out.
Right. Yes, did say that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And then tried to clean it up and saying the mothership is actually releasing drones because they didn't want to scare anybody to make them believe that there was occupants inside them things.
And this one right here, I kept a little bit of video of it. This happened in Chile. Now,
bro, that was like the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, I don't know too much, but dude will give it his little insight on it. Shout out to UFO 51. You know what I'm saying? Where I got this video. I'll put it in the description.
It sure was good to have Mr. Keith Cross with us today. Yeah, that was dope.
See, that's who it was shared by. But it don't seem like the people are panicking. People will be panicking. If you see some shit like that, you wouldn't be panicking.
Yeah, but Chile have a lot of UFO sightings. Like South America and Central America got a lot of UFO sightings. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that they have a lot of UFO sightings. So I wouldn't put it past them because that movie, what was the movie we was checking out? Where the girl ran up on the alien and
they supposed to be making they're supposed to be making a movie about it.
Yes, absolutely.
They ran into a little alien thing that was up against the wall. Remember, I told you I had seen that shit.
Yeah, they made a movie about it. Yeah, they made a documentary about it, and it wasn't that great. Remember, you watched it, and you was like, they didn't show the alien. Right, and then I watched it anyway. Man, what a time to be alive. You know what I'm saying? You got fentanyl killing people, and fentanyl killing people has made the healthcare system have to go back and rethink how they classify pain med seekers and drug addicts, because it's too easy to get fentanyl and it's too cheap. So why go to the hospital when you can get fentanyl, for 30 cents, and you paying more money for the hydrocodone, oxycodone, which ain't nowhere near the strength of the fentanyl. But people should be very afraid of that fentanyl shit, man.
Because that shit killing a motherfucker on the first shot.
Because you
ain't getting no get back.
And when it comes from a home brew pharmacy, what's on the label or what's on whatever you get don't necessarily mean that might be in the first 2 pills, but the third pill might have a little extra. Right. And it'll take you out. I got fentanyl in the ER, not in the ER, in the hospital after getting admitted one time. And I broke out in hives. My face started swelling. My tongue started puffing up. And I was like, what did you give me? They said fentanyl. I said, never again. Don't ever give me nothing like that.
Hey,
and the dosage that they gave me was like a 0.0 whatever. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
That's what they, when I was in that coma, I was on that. You know what I'm saying? The whole time on the drip thing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That shit healed the motherfucker, but they had to induce me into a coma in order to get to me. You know what I'm saying? At that rate. You know what I mean? But they told me that I was on fentanyl like a motherfucker.
And that's that round the corner hospital that don't have the greatest of reviews.
Yeah.
Because I used to. That's where I used to have to go.
I'm the one that went. I'm the one that took myself to it. You know what I'm saying? I should have went to Banner, but I just drove in their parking lot and went to their emergency.
Right, because it's closer. And
Yeah.
it looks like a modern hospital from the outside.
Right.
When you get in there and start dealing with the doctors, it's like, God damn, I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
How the hell did I end up in this shit? Like, y'all put me to sleep for real? For what?
Yeah. Hey. I went to sleep, nigga, and woke up in a totally different position. You know what I mean? Oh, this is just a minor. You know what I'm saying? This is just a minor procedure.
Somebody had to clean you up because, you know, you still go to the bathroom and things, and you still get bed sores and all that kind of stuff. And man, that's was one of them rough things, because if you lay on one side or in another side for too long, you start getting them sores. That's what takes out older people, because the sores get infected and then they can't fight the infection. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you made it. You made it. You made it to a hospital.
So let me ask you, man.
Huh?
So let me ask you something. What's going on with the documentary? Or what you know what I mean?
With the pyrogenesis documentary or
yeah, that you was talking about.
You know, we doing some heavy editing. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, the pace is off. It's like a start stop when we interview people. You know, like a movie, a documentary got to have a flow. It has to have a tempo, and we're trying to get our tempo. We're trying to get our tempo right, and we trying to make sure everybody, like, we got some people that's OG, you know, Paru. We got some Crips in there too, and some people say 1971, some people say 1972. You know, and we want to make sure that our stuff is definitive. I'm grateful that we got to interview Barefoot Pookie. You know what I'm saying? OG Crip. I'm glad we got him in there. Some of the people that we got, because we've been working on this documentary for so long, they have since passed away since we've done it, since we started on it. But I believe that it's gonna answer a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna make a lot of people angry because the gap of the original Crips, like the original Compton Crips, and how they got started. And when they start telling the truth about how they got started, I think some of the younger generations are gonna kind of look at it sideways. When you start talking about how the Pyru spread, I think some of the generations after the original, they're gonna have to look at it sideways, because it all basically boils down to one day some Crip leaders came to your neighborhood and turned you out. Same thing with Pyru. One day some Pyrus came to your neighborhood, whatever your neighborhood was called, whether you had your own little personal set or not, and turned you out. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it boils down to. You took on an identity once somebody else came and gave you that identity. And I think that's something that is missing in the story of gang banging. Like, what made y'all become Crips? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Tookie was over here and we met him and we thought he was cool and we became Crips. I don't think it went down that way. And then you find out in the documentary that in a lot of places, it didn't go down that way. People saw Tookie was swole, and he came over there with some other swole dudes, and it was Crip or die. And they chose Crip. Well, can you really be considered a bad MRFer if somebody then came over there and said Crip or die, and you already got your thing established, and you say, I choose this over death? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with some of them original blood hoods. Hey man, y'all gonna roll with us or not? oh, well, we kind of outnumbered. We gonna roll with y'all. And so some of them things, you know, and you hear it when you watch Kev Max stuff. When you watch Kev Max stuff, sometimes you'll hear somebody say, "Man, one day we seen this big swole dude Tookie and he was cripping, so we was cripping." Well, it gotta be some meat in the story. It wasn't you saw him one day and his arms were so big that you decided to be a crip. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that you seen Puddin one day and was like, "That's Puddin. Let's walk up to him and see if we can get an application to be Bloods." There has to be something in the middle of the story that made you, was it friendly or was it forced? And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of without getting anybody hurt.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a lot of stories that although a lot of people have passed, some people are still alive and some people remember some of the stuff. And you try not to, reopen the old wound.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like how did Tookie get into Compton? Well, after being at Camp Factor Brookings for so long, the people from Camp Factor Brookings and other people started opening up group homes, and Tookie was no longer eligible to be locked up in Camp Factor Brookings, so they gave him a job, and he's going into them group homes, and them group homes, eventually, they start buying group homes in Compton, and now Tookie's working at the group home in Compton. And wherever there was a group home where Tookie was, eventually that became a set. So now you have to question. Here's a dude not from Compton, from LA. He's working in a group home from Los Angeles County that got all these boys in it that happen to be from LA. And they are now living around or in these neighborhoods in Compton that got some other boys that are doing their own thing. Now, who's going to admit how y'all actually joined up? Who's going to say we went to the park and so-and-so Crip was here and we had a fight and we all agreed that if we lost the fight in the park, we got to be Crip? Like, who's going to tell that story? Because you got too many people that's, there's a lot of people that write their own narrative. We've had that conversation before where people inflate their stats.
Yeah, it's a lot of people out there that do that. You know what I'm saying? That, they're going to expand just a little bit more than what it really is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
if you're a person like me, I'm a person that, I speak minds. So, nigga, I'm lying or you lying. You know what I'm saying? You can tell me your story, okay. I believe too much, a certain amount of it, until you tell some shit. Hold on, you can't say that and then you this here, bro. I got to question that. And then when you question, you a motherfucker that, you a shit starter, fuck all that. You either tell it or don't.
The story starts falling apart. Like, so for me, as an outsider looking in, with you are a great historian because we talk on the phone and you'll tell me when somebody say something and then you'll break down what really happened. And when you question people, eventually the truth comes out because lies can only be told so many times before they start breaking down. So from the outside looking in, you're a great historian. But for me and for my father, the first thing we had to get across was we are not creating a documentary from a standpoint of Pyru, Blood, Damu, none of that. We are creating a documentary based on trying to get to the bottom of what really caused the proliferation of black men.
Right.
And it was very difficult because, again, some of these older guys that are originals, they still hold some grudges. We had to put in work, you know what I'm saying, to get them to understand that we was being 100% real. We are not
Right.
personally looking at this documentary as, you know, Bloods or Pirus or whatever label you want to put on it. We're not trying to put a slant on it to where it seems like the Bloods or the Pirus or something are saviors. That's not what we're doing. What we trying to do is figure out how these guys from LA came into Compton and what made it fall apart to where some other guys said, nah, we gonna choose to be the first line of defense, because Tookie did go into the West Side. He did go into Centennial. And a lot of times when he went, it didn't really end well for those guys at Centennial. But that was before they decided, you know, they basically, these were guys that just got tired of getting messed with. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, next time they come over here, we all gonna be ready, instead of them catching us, packing us out, and moving on to the next one, you know, or catching us off guard. So,
right.
You know, once people understood our sincerity and that we wasn't trying to make something seem one-sided, we really trying to get to the bottom of it. We had to go back and do some reshoots, because you could tell that some people had not animosity, but in the shooting, you could kind of tell that they were still hesitant about telling, you know, they side, they thing, what they believe and how they believe it started, you know.
Right.
So but as it came back, they watched some footage, or they watched the footage of themselves as we showed it to them. They were like, man, can we come back and do that again? And then they say some other things. So it's,
so how long before y'all put it out?
Well, the writer's strike right now got everything messed up. Everything kind of grinding to a halt right now. Even though the writer's strike don't have anything to do with us, because we put this together ourselves and it's a documentary. But it did make us go back to the drawing board with editing, and we should be done with that around July. And then we'll go back to shopping it. But we started shopping it, and then there were some things that we saw needed to be changed, because it certain things came off like, you can have two people and you can interview them and they'll know of the same situation, but wherever you put their interview, it will seem like these two people got animosity from each other, and they don't. They just see the same situation different, and it's where we placed it. And so,
right,
trying to be responsible filmmakers, you don't want to be the guys where people say, oh man, Omar was just trying to start some shit because he made it look like these two guys were against each other, and they weren't. Like, it's very, for us, it's delicate. We not like the
right. Because you're gonna get
gangbangers.
In a lot of situations that was happening on them streets, man, you're gonna get two different stories in it. You're gonna get that one side that if it was a head up fade, if you and a nigga got in the fade, the nigga got his side of the story of the fade, and you got your side of the story of the fade. You know what I mean? Unless you got knocked the fuck out, then he has the upper hand and say, man, no matter, my story might be, nigga, I was fighting like a motherfucker and he caught me slipping and I slipped on a banana and the nigga knocked me out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I get what you're saying.
And really it's the environment that's making us go back and check. Like, you can see that Kev Mack, when he does his shit, he's sincere and he tries to keep it neutral. But the YouTube crowd is starting to be a cesspool. You got people who have they have no knowledge of the gang culture. They have no knowledge of the area. And when they make their videos, they don't care how they make it. They want to make it like this set over here was the deadliest set, and they did this, and they did that. And it's like, no, homie, if you grew up in the gang culture, the first thing the first rule is when you go to somebody else's hood, you respect that you in their hood. You don't go acting a fool. So when you making a movie, you have the movie is everybody's set. So when you talk to somebody, you can't talk to somebody and make it seem like you acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? Because it is show. So that's really, we really trying to take care of this baby because we believe that doing it right, it will change opinions. And what we really trying to get people to understand is that gang violence is not just senseless killing, like the TV shows say, like the other interviewers say. Why are these black men killing each other? It makes no sense. It makes no sense to you. But these are interlaced, interpersonal stories,
right,
that are real to a lot of people. So when you go on TV, Mr. News Reporter, and you say, this is just senseless violence, and they didn't have to do this, and they didn't have to do that, you really adding fuel to the fire, because now you're telling some people that are enemies that their feelings don't matter, that they not important as people, because you don't understand why they fighting. They are no longer important. But we can't understand why Russia's in Ukraine. That don't mean that Russia in Ukraine ain't important just because we don't understand why they fighting.
Right.
So when you got Crip on Crip, blood on blood, or blood on Crip, it's a delicate situation, because really the most deadly Crip on Crip thing and the most deadly blood on blood thing, it's always two hoods that was really close and then something happened.
Right.
Like this was a sister said. This was these was our people. And then one thing happened that got it all effed up. And for the past 15 years, it's been bad. For the past 30 years, it's been bad. Well, if they were sister sets, and then something's been bad for the past 30 years, then you got to tread lightly.
Right.
Because you're not trying to make it worse. But then in some situations, you got sister sets that ended up beefing, and the new generation of gangbanger, all they know is that they don't get along with this set, but they don't know the original story of how the beef happened.
Right.
But I could tell you this.
They just grew up into the beef.
And 9 times out of 10, it's a woman.
Yeah. And then you get those that click back up, but everybody's not with the clicking.
Everybody's not with the click.
Everybody's not with the clicking. Like, okay, the new generation want to click up with somebody that, okay, y'all can click up. We not, it's shit internal with all that shit. It can't be no difference.
Yeah. And it could create a new beef, because some of the people who ain't with the clicking back up is like, who is you and who gave you the authority to say we gonna click back up?
Right.
Now you got a whole new. I remember early 2000s into the 90s, the 151s, because the 151s got family members that are neighborhood Pirus. They both Piru sets. They right across the street from each other. The family members of the 151s and the neighborhood Pirus that were related decided that they was gonna try to do is we gonna just click up and we gonna be neighborhood ones. And neighborhood ones lasted for about 6 months until all the other 151s who had moved out of the neighborhood, but they still feel like they OGs, came back and was like, what is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, who authorized this? And the dudes who said we neighborhood ones turned around and was like, nigga, you live in Riverside now. How do you, what makes you think you can come back to Compton and have anything to say with the fact that we clicked up? We needed bigger numbers. So the politicking, unfortunately, is still thick. And some of this stuff is older than me, and it's still thick. And the more you dig, because you're making a movie, you ain't making a YouTube 30-minute thing or a 15-minute thing. You're making a movie that's gonna be 2 hours long.
Yeah, so y'all got to get that shit straight.
You gotta get it straight because you got one chance. Because if you do one thing wrong, somebody's gonna come back and say, "Hey, man, that wasn't right." The flip side of it is,
right,
you're gonna get some other people that's gonna come back and say, "That was perfect, that was spot on." Because, like you said, perspectives are gonna be different. And then some niggas is gonna be like, "Why did you talk to that dude? You should have came and talked to me if you wanted the real story," because everybody claims to have the real story.
Right.
So we gotta get it. We gotta get it right. We gotta make sure that we done called everybody and say, "Hey, sorry, we forgot to call you the first time when we started interviewing, but we doing some reshoots. So do you want to be interviewed? Yes or no?" Because guess what? We got people who found out that we doing this documentary and they hitting us like, "Hey, why you ain't called us yet? When is it going to be our turn?" Well, truthfully, to some of them people, it's because, well, 8 or 9 people from your hood said you're not really a reliable source. We can't tell them people that.
Right.
We can't say, "Hey, man, well, actually, we have talked to some of your so-called friends, and they said, don't believe shit you say." And we really didn't. I mean, we knew that we was going to have to thread the needle, and we knew that we were going to have to make sure we got it right. But the more you talk to people, the more you find out that it's more drama really than it's worth to actually do this. But we gonna do it, and we gonna make it right because we started it, and we damn sure gonna finish it. But right now, we got a couple guys that say Pyru started in 71, and we got a few guys that say Pyru started in 72, and they all original from the original Pyru. So how do you tell somebody who was there day one that they got 71 wrong or 72 wrong, when in actuality these dudes is over 60 pushing 70, and they might not be wrong based on the fact that they was there or not. They might be wrong on the fact that they pushing 70 and they can't really remember if it was 71 or 72.
Yeah, that's true. That's true there.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's a major argument, though. It becomes a major argument. But how do you say, "Hey, man, your mind is slipping a little bit"? Because it was a long time ago. You can't tell nobody with no pride, "Hey, your brain is slipping. It was a long time ago. Why don't you rethink that?"
Hey,
and they've been,
it's
and
some
they've
shit
been
that if I go back to, I mean, it's some shit, and I'm just 57, but I can go back to, 78, 79, 71, 72. You know what I'm saying? When my uncle passed in 74. But shit, I was a young motherfucker. But everything that I remember is not going to be the fucking same. And that's the same thing even when I was 16, when I first moved to Pomona. You know what I mean? But it's going to be exact once I get certain things in line, the music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have all this social media. it's gonna be real hard for these young niggas that got social media. Remember what the fuck they did yesterday or the day before that. I was on the video game. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna be for us. We didn't have none of that shit. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, it is easy to bring back that shit, and it is easy to forget once you get older because you don't know if you have Alzheimer's.
Right. You just don't know. And sometimes shit just ain't as important as it was to you when you was in your 20s and it was nothing in your life but the set.
Yeah, you might
now you got grandkids.
I might see somebody that was in my 20s and I look at them like, I know you. I just don't care. Your name is just not clicking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they have to tell me their name, like, oh yeah, nigga. I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and to be honest, yeah, we had to explain to people the reason why it's called pyrogenesis and it's about pyrus is because the Crip story has been told. Everybody knows the Crip story. Everybody knows Raymond Washington.
Right.
Everybody know Tookie Williams. Right. Everybody know, like, it's been ingrained in people's heads. It's been in movies. All they know about Bloods or Pyru is the guy, like you said, from Boys in the Hood, leaning out the Centra with his jerry curl in his hat.
You said that didn't say he can remember his elementary school teacher.
Can't
remember a damn name in high school.
Yeah. I can't remember nobody really now, But so after doing this one with the pyrogenesis, when we go into the next generation, the generation where the real dope money come in and the automatic and semi-automatic weapons pop up.
Oh, that's what you get. A lot of motherfuckers don't know about that era in the mid 80s to 90s, but I tell motherfuckers about how the penitentiary system changed because you had so many niggas going in for dope cases, gun cases, for, you know what I'm saying? Because you had to protect what you had. You know what I'm saying? It was it was like a no man's land in there. Because everybody from every hood, there was a motherfucker going in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you might get little hoods that's in there. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they clicked up. And, they had the LA car, you had the CC Riders, you know what I'm saying? Which was all Compton. You know what I'm saying? And then you had individual outskirts. Pomona was one of those. You know what I'm saying? We had to handle our shit the way we had to handle it.
And we have to be honest.
Either it was accepted or excluded.
We have to be honest. The more violence, the more money, the more drugs was sold, the more time you got, and the more you ended up with guys telling. Because you was playing with real time for the 80s guys. You was playing with real time. For the guys that started it in the 70s, where it was more about fighting and fist fighting before it really escalated into the gang banging stuff.
Yeah.
They wasn't getting 15, 20 years off top. But once you add the real dope and the real, like I say, semi-automatics, and now you done introduced the Tech 9 because you got real money to play with.
Right.
Now you done introduced the Mac 10 because you got real money to play with. Well, now you got more time in prison. And the more you got that's when you got people that started telling, because it was, I'm not going down for all of that shit. But then you end up with the older dude. The older dude does the dirt, but you keep a younger kid in the car, and you get the older dude's cop a plea. The younger kid in the car plead guilty, and now he done did time for the hood. So when he gets out, he ain't got to do nothing else. So you had to learn how to be your own lawyer. I ain't got to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You was there. But you have to learn how to strategize to now kind of outthink these laws where y'all getting more time. Which one of the strategies was the 13-year-old is gonna say they did it because they getting out at 19. If they don't get out at 19, they definitely getting out at 25. But if the 18-year-old say he did it, he's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
The second documentary is going to be about both the Bloods and the Crips and how you had to become a thinker and how you had to learn to navigate the streets differently. Because a drive-by with a 38 that may have happened in 1979 is going to be different from a drive-by with a Mac 10 or Tech 9.
But you know they doing that shit now though. This new generation, this new generation, them niggas don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but we're not even gonna go into the new generation because we can't really
the old generation. Yeah, the old generation,
the gangbangers.
Right.
Can you consider the new generation gangbangers? They don't have flags. They ride skateboards. They got skinny jeans. They really have mastered the art of infiltration. You think it's a skateboarder, but he's a killer. You know what I'm saying? And you think he's riding the skateboard to school, but it's dope in the gun in that backpack. You know what I'm saying? So are they really gangbangers based on geographical location, but in their hearts, they thugs. Because most of them, their loyalty is to themselves and self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? Like now, you a banger based on your geographical location tells you what your hood is. But that don't mean that you ain't gonna tell on your friends that you went to elementary school with. Because it's really not a gang like it used to be. Now it's more affiliated. Now these guys are more independent contractors.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So now you're seeing people that represent the hood. They got a good heart. They become rappers. They put everybody on. And the people that they put on are the ones that come back and kill them. Well, because you wasn't really from the hood. You was an independent contractor. You was out for yourself. If you needed to ride, you would ride. But you wasn't really riding for your hood. You was riding because you like to ride. There's a difference.
Right.
Because we all know the killers that will kill for the hood versus I just like to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah. But some you had to get up out the house in order to do something. Hey, but Omar, we on there almost 3 hours. I'm about to get off. Rest my neck. Hey, you want to come back on Thursday? We could chop it up.
Thursday, I got the graduation from ASU. Thursday, I got the graduation.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad.
So,
all right,
tomorrow
we'll do it Friday or something.
Sounds good. Same bad time, same bad channel.
We can do another one. We can do another one tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll
hit you up.
I'm feeling good. I don't look it.
All right.
I'm feeling better than I look. All right,
I'll at you tomorrow.
All right, crowd. See y'all later.
Hey, this has been the Goob Show, man. Appreciate everybody that stopped through. You know what I'm saying? We hook up with Omar. If you haven't seen the videos that I put on there, the little UFOs over California or UAPs or whatever they want to call them, check it out on the replay. Shout out to all my homies, you know what I'm saying, promoting in this house. Until the next show, man. I'm out.